Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of the Top 10. I am John Rocha.
And I am Matt Knost, and we're here to bring you another week of movie discussion. This time, our favorite movies about weddings, thanks to the release of Maybe I Do.
Yeah. Which is, who's in Maybe I Do? Who's in that one?
You've got Diane Keaton, William H.
Okay.
Macy, Richard Gere, Susan Sarandon, Emma Roberts,
A lot of people there.
and those are the biggest names.
Okay. Yeah, and then we've got Shotgun Wedding that is out around this time that you guys are listening to this episode as well with J-Lo and Josh Duhamel. So I think that's on Peacock, I think.
Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah. That's the way I pronounce it. Is there another way to pronounce it? Duhamel?
Duhamel is what, but
okay.
I can't think of a single time I've seen him interviewed or anything where they've said his name. This is Josh, whatever.
Someone should create a website where you can go to, which is called Celebrity Name Pronunciations, and you have a clip of the person saying their name.
I think that might exist.
What? Okay.
I believe so. I'll look it up.
Look up Josh Duhamel. Duhamel. Shlamir Shlamazel. Yeah, so we're going to get into that and talk about it and break down our lists here as we do on the top 10. But before we start, Matt, we usually kibitz, for lack of a better term, before we start. But we've got a big announcement to make. So do you want to take it away? Do you want me to do? Go up.
We'll do it together.
Okay,
we took this leap together. We will take this secondary leap together.
Sounds good.
So we have, after how many years has it been, John?
Probably 7 or 8. Yeah, since the beginning of. Yeah, I guess we would be going into our 8th year because I think we started the show in 2015.
Okay,
I was getting into this business.
Something along those lines. Yeah, so 7 or 8 years, and after all this time, we have decided that we are officially going to hang it up.
Yeah. We're ending the top 10.
We're going to end it.
Yeah. We had a bunch of discussions about it. This had been something for us that we've been kicking around for a while, for a few months. We've seen, let's be honest, we've seen the numbers go down. We've seen the Patreon commitments go down. We were riding high, certainly doing the live shows. And, I guess now in retrospect, our apex being London, the London shows, which was really as high as we could have gotten at the time. And we had really great plans to go all over the country with the show. But the pandemic hit. And I think, unfortunately, it took us a while to finally kind of come to this conclusion. But it seems pretty obvious that it's the right decision for us to make at this point. And although we would have loved to continue going, it just seems the signs are pointing towards us I think bringing this to a good end.
Yeah, on a high note, as opposed to us just fading into complete utter obscurity on the show. Because then what's the point? Why did we put in all this work?
Yeah.
But I think personally for me, one of the driving factors is for the past year, we've done shows where collectively 5 or 6 of our top 10 we've talked about so many times.
Yeah.
That we just say, you know what, we talked about it, and we move right past it. And it's harder and harder to come up with lists or ideas that we haven't done.
Yeah.
Or to try and rehash an idea, because certain topics we've done 3, 4. I like Tom Cruise. I think we've done minimum 3 times. We might have done 4 times.
Yeah.
And it just gets to a point where it's like, I don't know what else we have to say, because new movies keep coming out, but to supplant on our lists is really difficult. And there's not enough of them to where the discussion becomes entirely anew all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's those weeks where you're just like, we've talked about it. And then we end the show and there's a tinge of guilt in that we didn't talk about the, 5 of those movies near as much as we would have a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, instead of just rehashing everything that we've already done, we decided let's set a date. let's give people a chance to hear this announcement
Yeah.
and join us for one final live show, roughly about a month from now.
Yeah. The last week of February, we're going to do a live show and the evening hours so that people will be able to watch and hang out with us and join us for that. Um, and yeah, I mean, like Matt said, exactly the rehashing of the movies, the same ones go, and we sense from you all that, and I think that's one of the reasons why this thing has been kind of losing listeners is because people are just exhausted of hearing us talk about the same movies. They
Yeah.
know our opinions.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It makes sense. You can pick and choose what you want to listen to, what you don't want to listen to. And we did have discussions about possibly another iteration of it. But the truth is, at the end of the day, we've done this for so long. And, no matter how much we would want to adjust it, I think we both think the results, if I could speak for Matt, we both think it wouldn't lead to that much more engagement or attention for the show.
Yeah.
So we just think this is the better route for both of us to walk. And as Matt said, to jump off the cliff together on this one, since we came into it together. So, yeah.
And we're targeting February 27th, which is a Monday in the evening. And then the plan would be we record the live show. And then for those that listen to the audio, it'll be uploaded and ready to go for you the next day as per usual. So once again, we're forecasting this out 5 weeks in advance or so.
Yeah.
So long as everything goes according to plan and we don't have to change anything. But as of right now, the 27th, we haven't set a time.
Right.
But as John mentioned, we're going to go for something in the evening. That way people are off work. And if they want to come hang out with us one final time, they can do that. But, I don't want people to be sad or anything like that. We've had a hell of a run. We've gotten to do things that 99% of podcasts will, unfortunately for them, never have the opportunity to do these amazing live shows and interact with so many incredible people from around the world.
Yeah.
And I hope all our contingent from way, way back when in Ghana show up for February 27th. We don't get the country by country breakdown anymore. Our first podcast service gave us that. In Ghana, we had a huge contingent of fans in Ghana.
Somehow, some
way, but they were in the top 10 of our countries. Now, some people said there's a lot of internet service routers from Africa and whatnot that go through Ghana before they exit the country. I'm fucking calling bullshit. And I'm just going to say we had a huge contingent of fans.
Absolutely.
In Ghana.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing that week in, week out when we first started, dude, we're getting amazing numbers in this country and this part of the world. This is incredible. So, but yeah, we're building up to that February 27th date. So if you'd like to join us, we'll have more information as we get closer, but we just wanted to let you know now.
Yeah. And as Matt said, it's been a hell of a run. When we first came together, we were brought together for a meeting. We had not known each other. We had a couple of meetings and then decided to take a chance. And the show kind of morphed and evolved into what it became. And so many of you came aboard. So many of you contributed to our Patreon. Some of you showed up to our live shows, bought our shirts, repped our merchandise, promoted us on your own social media feeds. And we can't thank you all enough for keeping the show alive that way as well. And I agree with what Matt said. I mean, 99% of the podcasts who are out there probably don't have the story that we have. And that, we became tag team champions of the Schmodown. We kept going into different places and trying to expand the show, trying to expand the reach of the show. We brought on some incredible guests to have some fantastic discussions. I think of the Mark Andraco episode. I think of Clark Wolf coming on to talk about sci-fi stuff. I think of Mance coming on to the show. Well, and we also went live. Speaking of Mance, we also went on the Collider to try to do a show on a set and as a version of the top 10. So this is a show that has fought and kicked and screamed and punched and clawed its way to stay alive in multiple iterations. And so no one can say we didn't give it everything we got to try to make it work and try to make it become a big success. But in the end, here as we go, some things come to pass. Some things don't 100% get there to where we wanted it to be. And that's life. And but we're very proud, as Matt said, of all we did get to do and all we were able to accomplish. And it's been a hell of a ride, brother, for sure. And I really thank you for taking the chance. And honestly, all the things we did were so much fun, putting it together and having the interactions with the fans, everything like that. So, in the end, I got no regrets about us taking the chance on this and the many places we've gone with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. All good things come to an end.
Hmm.
And it was a hell of a ride. And we'll be joining you guys weekly as we always do.
Yeah.
For the next 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you want to come join us on the 27th, we'd love to see you. And but we'll talk about that more as we get closer. Don't want to turn this into a full retrospective, considering we're going to have one entire show, I'm assuming, on the 27th, basically a fan interaction, retrospective,
right,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah,
save a little gas in the tank for that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically, we're doing a show about weddings, considering we're ending our wedding in a way for this show. So this will be a fun discussion for sure, getting into this stuff. But for anything going on with you, like how are you doing? How are things in your world? Anything you want to bring up before we jump into our discussion?
I mean, that's a exceedingly open-ended question.
Okay.
Is there something specific going on in your world that you want to talk about?
No, I was just asking to check in with you. That's all.
No, you guys are going to fucking blow it up, man. Hachimura's on the trade block. I love of the assets that you could actually get something for. Hachimura is where you guys start. As if Kuzma's going to resign with you. He's not.
Yeah, no.
By all accounts, I mean, he's fucking batting his eyelids at any big market that'll take him.
I think Simmons put it best. You don't want to go the Wizards route where you constantly bring back the same people to try to get a 40 to 44 win team consistently
100%.
every year. It makes no sense.
Nope.
Yeah.
You're never going to win a championship. You're just going to always be right in that middle pack doing nothing. Yeah, but when they were like, Wizards exploring trade possibilities for Hachimura, and I was like, Hachimura, who's having a good season. It's like, I want to say 12.5, 13 points a game.
Yeah.
I know he scored 36 once, and I think 31 another time this season.
Yeah.
He missed a spell of games, like 10, 12 games, but still, whatever.
Yeah.
Younger guy, not bad, but Beal's going to get you something.
Yeah.
Kuzma's going to get you something. I don't think anybody take Porzingis.
Not at the contract that he's at. No way. Yeah.
I don't think you'd get what you feel is fair market value for him.
That as well, for sure.
But
what about your Bulls, though, man? Your Bulls. What do you make of your Bulls? Like, who are the Bulls? Are they the team that went on the run? Are they the team that fell apart? Are they the team that went on the new run? Who are the Bulls?
Last year, if you were under 500, we're curb stomping you. If you're above 500, hey, good game. You guys are really good. This year, anybody above 500, we're fucking bringing it to you. Yeah. And it's the lower end teams who are just like, we don't need to play on this game. You're like, guys, fucking yes, you do. That's why I was kind of shocked that we beat the Pistons in Paris. It was like, this seems like a game we're destined to lose.
Yeah.
Like the NBA put up a graphic of all the guys that scored 40 plus points in the month of January.
Yeah.
We're the only team that had 3. DeRozan did it. Wow. Levine did it. Vooch did it. We're the only ones. The Knicks had 2. Yeah. Nobody else had more than 1. Wow. We had 3 guys. So we have something, but we only show up, which I guess is somewhat a good sign as opposed to last year going into the playoffs. It's like, we can't beat any good teams. So I'm not buying this bullshit. Whereas this year, it's just like, we show up for the good teams. It's just, there's a lot of bad teams out there too. And we fucking keep losing to them when we shouldn't. Now, some of them are scrappy, like Orlando's by record doesn't look like it, but that's a scrappy team.
Yeah, right.
And I fear them. And like Detroit is, especially if they had Cade, that's a scrappy team.
True.
But, some of the others.
You guys are just hard to figure out.
I know, we're up and down. Until we get Lonzo back, I still don't know what this team is.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the runs here, because now you're on a 2-game winning streak, having beaten the Golden State end. But the Golden State, I don't know. Golden State's starting to look like 2 years ago. So that's getting a little scary. I'd be real concerned if I'm a Golden State fan.
I think if you just get Jordan Poole to stop turning the fucking ball over 7 times a game, that would be something. Because they're turnover prone. That is their system.
Yeah.
is we're going to turn over the ball a lot just because we pass the ball so fucking much.
Yeah.
And so it's going to happen, but man, he is a turnover machine.
Yeah.
Plus you couple that with the fact that they don't get to the line like any kind of high caliber team.
Yeah.
So it's like you're already operating from a deficit, and then you turn over the ball as much as you do. It's tough.
Although Vucevic played so well for you guys against them, he took Draymond Green to school, man. It was just unsettling to watch what he's able to do to Draymond.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just we had a good night, they had a bad night, or it was
Yeah.
genuinely that was their best effort and we took it to them. I don't know. Although their best effort this year, like you mentioned, or you alluded to.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know what you have in Golden State, to be honest. Do you see any big moves? I was listening to Simmons'
No.
one thing. It didn't seem like much that they anticipate would happen here.
No, unless we just go on a vicious losing streak.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I think because this is the new front office and these are all the moves they made over the past couple of years.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah, this is their strategy. I don't see them deviating from this strategy this season.
Right.
In the offseason, perhaps.
Right.
Unless somebody swooped in and just offered us the moon for Levine.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
but I don't know what that is. Because then you got a salary match on top of that. So it's kind of a tough thing. Like, the Lakers, they would love to have him because there was a report that came out last week that Levine is demanding a trade to the Lakers. And it was from, I didn't believe it when I read it. Do I think he wants to play there? Sure. I believe he went to UCLA.
LeBron, yeah.
Yeah, it's LA.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, you have your 2 firsts, but then we have the salary match, and I don't want Westbrook.
Yeah.
And plus, I don't think they can give up Westbrook, to be honest. They don't have any other playmakers.
Yeah, not with that money situation. No way, man.
Yes, I don't. So, I think we stand pat.
What about do you anticipate any big ones? I mean, because the deadline is still a couple weeks away. So, do you think any big trades are going to happen? Any big people moving?
That's the thing, though. Who?
I mean, yeah, all I hear is Miles Turner and John Collins. That's all I hear the whole time, and I can't think.
I've been hearing John Collins since he got into the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think either one of those are going to make a difference.
Yeah, John Collins may be moved or he may not. Like,
yeah,
Miles Turner, I think Indiana is going to try and give an extension and then maybe trade him after that. But I don't. At this point, Indiana's a team that likes to be where they shouldn't, which is that 8th seed, 7th seed. Yes. But as long as they're contending and in the playoffs, their management and ownership's happy.
Yeah.
Because they just want to put a competent winning team out there, year in, year out, it seems. But that's been their basically course trajectory for all these years. But the big names that potentially could be out there, I don't see them pulling the trigger. Like Dame Lillard is going to stay in Portland.
Yeah, that's weird to me that people talk about Dame. Dame ain't leaving.
Well, it's not. It's just like, should they invest in the youth of Simons and Sharp?
Yeah, right. Fair point.
And then trade out Jeremy Grant, they offered him, I think, a 4-year extension. And he wants more than the 120-ish million that he would get.
Right.
So do you trade Jeremy Grant? And then if you're going to do that, then try and find a suitor for Josh Hart. And then if you're going to do that, no one's going to touch Nurk, but you could get something for Dame.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't see them doing that in the slightest.
Yeah.
Weird. I can't think of a single big name right now, unless Miami decides to go full blow it up, but I don't see him doing it.
Yeah, exactly. This is where I go, okay, well, I can't see anything. I mean, even LeBron, we talk about LeBron. I can't imagine LeBron would go anywhere or want to go anywhere right now. So,
well, he can't. He has to stay on the team because of the extension he signed.
Oh, that's right.
He's on the Lakers for this year. In the summer, he can be traded, but he cannot be traded right now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And I tell you this much right now.
Yeah.
Pay attention to how many 40-point games LeBron has over the next week and a half.
Okay.
Because I think he is hell-bent on breaking the record Madison Square Garden.
Oh, shit.
He's got it. The problem is he took a couple games off over the past month. Had he not taken those off, he needs to average something like 42 a game. Because the others around that, it's like it's at Indiana, and Pelicans at home.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Although it's the Nets the night before, but he'd have to juice his scoring even more. Had he not missed those 2 games in between, I think MSG was a real possibility.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying to line it up, been doing it all season, tracking his to buy tickets
really?
to the Lakers games. And originally I was thinking it was going to be when Golden State comes into town in a month. But I think he's going to break it before then. He's been on a trajectory of once AD went out, his scoring went up to about 33 points a game on average.
Yeah, his last 3 games, 32, 48, and 35.
Yeah, that 48, that's when I ran the numbers. I was like, he needs 43 a game.
Oof.
So now he needs like 43 and a half. It's still possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he wants to break it in MSG.
They're also weird because they went on that run with Atlanta, Charlotte, Miami, Atlanta, and Sacramento, and then came back down to earth against Denver, Dallas, and Philadelphia. So played them tough, though. I mean, all those games were close, but couldn't have it. They didn't have enough, and then they lost to Sacramento last night. So, or a few days ago. So,
yeah, that was
last night. Yeah, sorry, we're recording this last night. Yeah. So.
It wasn't 2 nights ago? I thought it was 2 nights ago.
Oh, that's right. Today's Friday, dude. Yeah. Fucking hell, my days, man.
Yeah, the young guy got called for a take foul, and you're like, you can't do that anymore, man. Late in the game. I watched the end of that game, and I was like, it's a beautiful thing. We're not doing that bullshit anymore.
I'm thinking of getting the NBA League Pass for the back half of the season and just kind of settling in and watching some of these games and tracking people, because it's been a bit since I've done that. And so I just feel like it'd be nice to kind of relax a little bit and get back to enjoying a little NBA stuff. I'm kind of like, I love talking movies, love talking TV, man, but I'm a little, I'm a little burnt out on it right now. So I'm trying to kind of balance that in my mind with other things.
You're going to have one less opportunity to talk about movies coming up very shortly. So hopefully that helps with your fatigue. Your burden is lessening.
This show does not fatigue. This show does not fatigue me.
I don't know, dude. It all adds up, man. It all adds up. You never know which is the actual straw that breaks that camel's back.
Good point. I mean, I started the sports channel as a separate YouTube channel, so I want to do more content. And now NFL's wrapping up in 3 weeks, so I gotta start doing some NBA stuff.
Yeah, but that's the bread and butter.
I know it is. It usually is most of the time because NBA is so long. And then
it just doesn't draw as many eyes. NFL is number 1 by a mile.
Yeah. It's maybe a year long. Maybe I'll get a USFL or XFL. We'll see.
That's stupid.
Man. Yeah.
I was with somebody and the commercial came on for the USFL and they're like, yes, season 2. And I'm like, shut up. No one is excited about this. More football. It's not, though.
It's really not.
It's not.
Yeah. And the Rock's going to be out promoting that XFL stuff, and we'll see how that turns out. We'll see. It'd be nice to get a competitor for the league, but I can't. The thing at the end of the day is, as opposed to, you could probably start a separate basketball league. You could absolutely start a separate basketball league, right? But when it's the best of the best, it's really hard to start another league in the NFL that competes with the NFL, because the best of the best are already there.
Well, there's the Canadian Football League. That's where the next best go.
Yeah.
It's God's honest truth.
I know, you're right. There's nowhere else for them to go after. Yeah.
Plus, with basketball, you need so many fewer people to field a team.
Yeah.
And the sport is fully international, unlike football.
Right. So you have a wealth of people to choose from globally. And that's not maybe necessary.
And a global fan base if you can build it up. Whereas football, it's like you're really targeting this country and then pockets in other countries.
Mm-hmm. That's true. All right. Anyway.
Did you see the just one last thing?
Yeah, sure.
From the Paris game, Wembanyama was there.
No.
And him standing next to other NBA players. Dude, that dude is so fucking big. I mean, there's the picture of him next to Gobert, and he's taller than Gobert.
Yeah.
But he was standing next to, like, Ben Wallace was there, and Rip Hamilton and Magic Johnson, along with, I think Tony Parker was there as well.
Okay.
And there's a clip of Ben Wallace walking up to say hi, and Tony Parker's right there. And he's like, dude, this guy towers over Ben Wallace.
I'm looking at it right now. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. Now that jacket also makes him look bulkier. That dude is pretty wiry.
Yeah.
But
it looks like he can smack him all in the back of the head.
He's so fucking big. I'd be concerned with his, joint health.
Well, isn't what's his face out again? Zion?
Zion is out again. Yes.
Yeah. So tall, big guys like that, just like Greg Oden and others. It's just like I don't have any faith in them anymore, man. I really don't.
Well,
But
Zion's
he's
a freight train. That's why he
yeah,
has joint issues. Wembanyama is like the human body is really not meant to be this big and play a sport. It's just not. So he's going to have more than likely issues at some point. But that being said, hey, check out Bo Bowl. I mean, fucking
yeah,
incredible
true,
season.
true.
Roughly the same size.
Yeah,
No health issues by and large thus far. So you never know.
a 7-2 Durant would be really interesting.
He fully is too. I don't know if you've ever watched anything. I saw
Yeah,
him do. There was a fast break coming down. He was on defense. It was a 2-on-1.
yeah.
So there's ball handler on the right wing coming up, and then the other offensive player on the left wing.
Left
And
wing coming
Wembanyama
down.
is what's that?
Coming down. Oh
Yeah.
no. Okay. Yeah.
Like, so you're Wembanyama, they're progressing towards you, balls on your right, and then another player's on your left. And he shades to the ball handler. The ball handler throws an alley-oop to the other guy. Wembanyama jumps up, almost blocks the fucking pass, lands, takes one step, and jumps and blocks the alley-oop from the guy dunking. And you're like, that doesn't make sense. Because it also happened about 3 feet outside of the paint from the pass. The pass was
Wow.
about 3. Yeah. So he jumps up, lands, takes one, like maybe got a couple toes into the paint, and then jumps from just below the right elbow and blocks the guy going in for a dunk. And it was like,
Goodness gracious.
that's not fucking real. And then he's got like a silky jumper and he plays excellent defense and he's got a great handle. It's like, this dude doesn't make sense.
Do you put weight on this guy at 209?
I would do the Kevin Durant model.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's got to mature into his body because he's only 19.
But no, if it's going to affect his shooting motion and all that, no, just because I'd like to see him stand next to Durant, see how much larger he is. But I'm guessing it's only a couple, like 2-3 inches. Durant's 7 foot.
The thing is, he doesn't even have to jump that high to touch the rim.
That's kind of crazy. I would guess he could probably go tippy toes and dunk from the ground.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like that he's aggressive though. Like he wants to run down the court. He likes to run down the court. A lot of big guys are always trailing the game sometimes. So seeing this guy, want to run down the court immediately, I kind of like that instinct. That's a good thing, That would scare me if I'm a defender. A guy like that coming right down the court as quickly as the point guard. Oh, fucking hell, man. That would scare the shit out of me.
He is legit.
Oof. It's going to be something to see. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's get into our list here. We're going to talk about our top 10 movies about weddings. Now, to me, I had it like, well, if a wedding occurs in the movie, it qualifies.
Okay.
And I tried to steer away from films that are about marriages.
Sure.
And not about weddings. So I was like kind of dancing around this. So I don't know if I accomplished that, but that's how I constructed my list. What about you?
So yeah, movies about marriages, I got none. There has to be a wedding in the movie.
Yes.
Flat out has to be a wedding. Now it could be like quick scene or the movie is building to that wedding type of situation
or something.
Yeah. But what's driving the story in this is the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not going to be the significant focal point. And I have like two just like, okay, doesn't exactly fall into that, but it more honors what we're talking about as opposed to what you mentioned of the a marriage type situation. So, and plus my list is weird. Well, I looked at like Cosmopolitans and Marie Claire's and everybody's favorite wedding movies. And I have several of those, but there's a whole bunch where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. That's not my cup of tea, but everybody else likes that movie.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of those. So I think if you got another individual besides myself that's really into these types of movies, their list would be completely different.
Yeah, mine has I had an overflow of about 5 to 7 movies past the 10. So I was surprised at how many choices I had to go, and I had to eliminate other ones because I was like, well, that's more about the marriage than it is about the wedding. And so the film had to kind of have a focus on that.
Such as,
There's one that Heartburn, the Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson one, because
oh,
that's about their marriage, not and even though there's a wedding at the beginning of the movie, it's more about their marriage, right? There's an animated one that I took off, but if it's on yours, I will put it back on my list because I was like, well, there is a wedding and everything stems from this potential wedding.
I have no animated film, so what is that one?
Okay, Corpse Bride.
I haven't. It's way I never saw it.
Oh, okay, okay. It was on my list up until yesterday, and then I took it off because I was like, when I looked at some of the scenes, I'm like, yeah, the wedding or the potential of the wedding, because he's tricked into marrying this person, is the reason why all this shit happens. But it's not really about the wedding. It's about this idea of this person wanting to come back and trapping this person so they could do that. So it's not really about the wedding. So I
Okay.
kind of eliminated that one, which moved another one of my favorites back up into the top 10 that I want to talk about. So it's kind of place I went. I really hated cutting a couple of them because I do like the movies and we never talk about those movies, but I thought, well, it doesn't qualify. It doesn't qualify.
Fair enough.
Yeah. There are a couple of new ones here that I think are fascinating. So anyway, Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Yeah, I think they know by now.
Okay,
So let's get into it.
Let's move on then.
At 10,
Yes.
I have Steel Magnolias.
Oh, see, that's one because I was like, well, is it about the wedding or is it about? But I guess you're leading up to her wedding.
Yeah,
but then,
we're all
she
building
dies.
to her wedding, and then she gets
You're right.
married and
Yep.
passes. Spoilers. That's why I'm like, that's one of my two where if you want to fight me on it, that's fair.
Nah.
That's fair.
Given our announcement, there'll be no fighting about anything. To me, I'm like,
somebody else will fight.
Man. Whatever.
Bring it on, fucko. Bring it on. So I don't know. I've always been a sucker for this movie. So when I was a kid, it was one my mom wanted to watch.
Yeah.
So, she gets her choice just like all the rest of us at times.
Sure.
And so it's like a young Julia Roberts, and I was already intrigued by that because she was really making the leap into, hey, she's going to be a fixture in your life.
Yeah.
Type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, it's kind of I always enjoy the young up and comer when they do a movie like this with a bunch of seasoned individuals who have been in movies for so long, because it's kind of like a passing of the torch situation.
Totally. Yeah, because you've got Tom Skerritt and
Sally Fields.
Yeah, Sally Field.
And Olympia Dukakis.
Yeah, Shirley
MacLaine. And people that have been in movies and part of the cinema pop culture lexicon for decades, and for them to basically defer to the next generation coming up, but to see the scenes of all of them in that beauty parlor together, there's a great back and forth. And you see something like that and you're like, why wasn't Olympia Dukakis more a part of my life? She is so charismatic in that movie.
Yeah.
I love every scene he's in. And like Sally Field drove me nuts as a kid, but now when I watch it as an adult, I understand her motivations every single time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You lived in the world. You understand a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. You just understand her fears. And, I don't have any children, but I can understand that protective nature and the fact that, her daughter is a diabetic.
Yeah.
And this is in a world where people know what it is, but they don't know what it is.
Right.
Type of situation.
Right.
My understanding of diabetes, I got through movies and television. I didn't know anybody diabetic when I was a kid. So I just knew, like, get them some orange juice or something. That was my diagnosis if they're having a problem. I fucking didn't know.
Godfather Part 3. Bring them out some candy. Bring them out some candy.
Yeah, something. Their blood sugar's crashing. I don't know if that's actually what's happening, but I've seen a lot of movies. I've since seen a friend of mine is diabetic, and I've seen him go into a state where we had to call EMTs and show up because out of nowhere, just his body crashed, and suddenly he is catatonic.
Yeah.
He's looking through you, you're talking to him, and he's like mouthing words, but he's not processing anything that's going on around him.
Yeah. That's what happened with my dad because my
Oh,
dad
really?
got diabetes late in life, the type 2 diabetes.
Mhm.
So, but he wasn't like my dad lived in this fairyland sometimes, a fairy tale in his head because he'd be like, "Oh, it's fine." And he would just keep eating the sausages and keep eating the meat. And then we'd have to take him in. And he thought he could lie to the doctor about the blood because you're supposed to be measuring his blood on the electronic meter every day. And my dad thought I could just he could measure it like the day before or 2 days before and stuff like that, and it would register and it'd be fine. But like, the doctor would download the readings and it would be like only 2 days since the last time he saw her. So I remember I flew home and my mom was at the end of her rope. My sister and brother couldn't really get through it. And my dad and I just sat down in this conversation. I said, if you want to die, I'll go buy you a gun and you can just fucking do the job because what you're doing now is essentially the same thing at a slower pace. So
Yeah.
if this is what you want, then do that because this is not working. And I got through to him and we had the honest conversation. We went back up and spoke to the doctor. She like mapped out what it was. And from that day forward, he was testing his blood. He was eating different type of food. My mom, like a little less of the stress of my mom, but then he got cancer. And when he got the cancer, I remember we went to the hospital because the doctors had fucked up on his chart how much they were giving him, the chemical they were giving him and stuff. And I think it was twice or something, once every 2 hours. It's supposed to be once every 6 hours, and they had just written the wrong number. And
Mhm.
so when I came to see him after I dropped off my sister and my mom, and I'd gotten some dinner, and I came back to the hospital, as you said, catatonic. He was catatonic. And it's kind of mind blowing when you see someone go catatonic and they see you, but they're not registering what
Yeah,
you're
no, they're
saying.
looking through you.
Yeah, they're looking exactly. So I kind of, and he started to like pass out. So I had to slap him awake a little bit to keep him there while I yelled for the doctors and the nurses to come in. And I said, "You guys are fucked up on this chart. Take a look at this chart. I know you fucked up on this chart." And sure enough, they had given him too much glucose because of the
Mhm.
chemotherapy and stuff. They were trying to replenish it with glucose. They had given him too much, and that had spiked him past the point. And so he was even more like just kind of out of it. So eventually, we got him some bananas, got it slowed him down a little bit, got him some water and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually he kind of leveled out about 2 hours later. But dude, scariest fucking moment, most
Yeah.
emotional moment, other than obviously when he passed and I saw his body. That really scared me because I kind of thought like my dad, like diabetes wasn't a big deal. You just had to monitor it. But seeing what it actually does to you is just kind of mind blowing to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you let it just go unchecked.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
Uh,
Once you experience a catatonic thing, you'll never forget it, man. You'll just never forget seeing that.
no, it's like Full Metal Jacket when Joker, it's the second half and he's
Oh,
talking to the guy and he's like, "You never been in the shit. You ever seen like the 30-yard stare or whatever?"
yeah.
That to me is always the first time my buddy looked catatonic is like 30-yard stare. Like I don't exist.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
looking right through me right now.
Right. And he can't process what's happening. It's
No,
crazy.
no. And then paramedics showed up and he was right as rain as soon as they gave him the right, medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Bounced him out.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then
Yeah.
just but like practically instantly came back. It's like, oh,
That's
that is fucking spooky.
it is kind of, yeah. All right. So what a good way to start the show.
Yep.
What are we at? What's your nine?
My 9 is Father of the Bride.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, man.
Not on your list, I take it?
Lindley tried really hard to make me put it on the list, but I'm not a fan of it. So I like the Garcia one. That one almost made my list, the recent one on HBO Max. But
Okay.
the other one's it's a little cheeseball, man. So I'm not a big fan of it.
What are you talking about? A guy in Southern California who has a shoe manufacturing company that's
Oh,
somehow, successful?
yeah, very very rich off a shoe manufacturing company. Yes.
Yeah, I think they present him as upper middle class,
Yeah.
even though he owns this manufacturing plant
Yeah.
for athletic shoes. Uh, it's got a good balance of heart and humor.
Okay.
Um, it's Steve Martin doing more of the heartfelt stuff because he's done the over the top,
Yeah.
eccentric comedic characters, and then
Right.
he started to segue into these more adult roles. Now this is on like the tail end of a ton of those.
Right. Right.
Parenthood, LA Stories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah.
where he had big string of I'm doing more of the serious stuff. And this was kind of slightly a little bit of a return to form where you have the comedic stuff, like when, he gets found out by his future in-law or I guess in-laws, uh, and the dog scares him and he falls into that pool.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah. And Martin Short is the over the top
Yeah.
wedding planner.
Super caricature. Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond. Like, I don't even know what nationality he's supposed to be, just vaguely European.
Mm.
Couldn't tell you what he's supposed to be. Austrian? I had no
Yeah, I
fucking
think
clue.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But you could also tell me like, no, he's actually the south of France, and it's this weird.
He's Serbian.
Yeah, who knows? Get Serbian, sure. Croatian, no idea. He steals every scene, although that's the character that he's playing.
Right.
Is you need to come in and choose scenery because that's what we're asking of you in this. But the bond between Steve and his daughter is very heartfelt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Alice, I think Alice. What's Michelle Williams? No, wait. What's her name?
no, I'll look it up real quick. She was in a fucking million movies at that point.
She married Pete Sampras.
Pete Sampras married the girl from Billy Madison.
I thought Andy Roddick married the girl from Billy Madison.
Andy Roddick married Brooklyn Decker. Don't ask me why I know the love lives of it's Kimberly Williams Paisley. So she married Brad Paisley.
She married Brad Paisley. Oh, that's it. Okay. All right.
She married somebody else famous as well.
No, I just love the fact that, we went, no, they married. No, they married. I love that. That's good.
Roddick's, I remember because I was like, dude, good for you.
I'll kick your coverage. I mean, Roddick's a good looking dude.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
Yeah, the male Brooklyn Decker, for God's sakes.
But she is pretty incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
So good for you. But anyway, so Steve and Kimberly have, it seems like a genuine father-daughter type of relationship.
Yeah.
And, my dad had that with my sister, and my brother has that with his daughter. And so I think that's why I kind of gravitated to putting this on my list, because I've now experienced that through the eyes of others and be like, yes, I can understand a fraction of what the inner turmoil of all of this must have been. Plus, in the movie, they had only been dating for a handful of months, and then suddenly they're engaged, and she's been like overseas or something in Europe studying abroad, coming back, and now she's engaged. So that must have been send you into a tailspin of like, what the fuck? What? Like, hey, it's great to see you. What?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so that's my 9.
Okay. All right. What's your 8?
My 8 might be higher on your list.
Okay.
Might not. I don't know. 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
That's my 8. Yes. What a fun film.
Yes.
I like Richard Curtis. I'm a sucker for his British stuff, his British romantic stuff. But it always has a little bit of an edge to it. And even this one has there's like deaths in this film.
Mm-hmm.
There's the progression of this relationship between Andie MacDowell and Hugh Grant. Kristen Scott. This is my first introduction to Kristen Scott Thomas. So there's a lot in this movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. And in fact, I might even put it on after we're done with our stuff, because it's been a while since I watched it. And while I was compiling the list, I'm like, oh, this is on Prime Video. Maybe it's been a bit. Take a look and just disappear into this world. So I like it for what it is. And it's, it's the beginning of Hugh Grant, who I always kind of liked. And so,
yeah,
the film just works as a progression of these people's lives from wedding to funeral to wedding to wedding to wedding. Because obviously, like the title, there's 4 of them in the movie. So, those are my 2 cents on it.
So I did rewatch it for this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen it since the 90s.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, you know what? Let's see. Hugh Grant is, you can see why he became what he became. He leaps off the screen.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. And I forgot how good John Hannah and Simon Callow are.
Oh yeah, Simon Callow, yeah, especially
Yeah.
his passing is like super fucking sad in the movie. And look, I'm not the biggest fan of him as a person. I love him as a performer, but some
Oh,
of his
really? He's not a good dude?
well, no, his Orson Welles books I think are really condescending. Fuck him,
Oh.
and some of his opinions on that. But his performances are always great, you know. And when he plays the fop, or not fop, when he plays the arrogant British guy, he's a great villain, just a great villain. So seeing him in a role like this, it's brusque, but you still feel a connective tissue to him, and you understand why Hugh Grant has such a care for him, so that when he passes, you actually feel that in the movie. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of the driving force of their friend group.
Yep. Yeah.
But I will say this, Andy McDowell is wooden.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
There are other things like go watch Groundhog Day, and she's got a lot of charm.
Yeah.
She is fucking wooden.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this.
Yeah.
I was never a big Andy McDowell fan, but I never disliked her.
Right.
And I saw this and like, I don't even. Yeah. This is amazing.
She got better as she got older. That's what I would say, is because you're right. Because even in even in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, which is like the first thing she ever did.
She was overdubbed.
Yeah, Glenn Close did her.
Oh, I didn't know it was Glenn Close. I just remember the story that she was overdubbed.
Yeah, Glenn Close is the one who did her lines. So Glenn Close, did a British accent and did the lines for Andy McDowell and Greystoke. So yeah, I think you're right. Until Groundhog Day, we didn't really get to see, and I know Green Card, I think, is a little bit after that as well. So those are those films we got to see a little bit more of Andy McDowell. And now, I kind of like seeing her stuff. She's much more relaxed or comfortable in her acting than she was when she was younger,
I was just shocked. I didn't remember her being so stiff.
Yeah.
And so just like delivering, I don't understand why he would fall in love with you this quick. You're a beautiful woman. Yeah, I'm not taking that away, but it's just like, the two of you have no chemistry. Really?
Yeah. I mean, look at that. I mean, the movie was made for $3 million, Matt. It made $245.6 million.
Runaway huge hit.
Fucking hell, man. Just gotta make one of those, Matt. Just
like there's the guy who plays their eccentrically wealthy friend who's kind of an idiot.
Yes.
But him coming to self-realization towards the end of the movie, I didn't remember that twist where he's trying to stop Hugh Grant's potential bride from coming in the wedding because Grant isn't ready, and then he comes back in and he talks to that actress, the character who's always late with Hugh Grant to these, and he's like, the benefit of everybody thinking you're an idiot is no one anticipates you lying, like when you're lying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I did not remember him being that self-aware.
Yeah.
As a character, at first, like upon rewatch, I was like, boy, this dude is annoying. And by the end of it, he's endearing.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to the actor and the direction and the writing and everything.
Yeah.
To just give the character time to grow. It's like Keke Palmer and Nope. First few scenes, I fucking hated that character. And then eventually by the end of it, I was like, she was awesome. Now I understand why you start here.
Yeah.
And it ends here. But yeah, she drove me up the wall first few scenes. Well, it's like when she's on the set, like I do catering and I'm an actor and I'm a this and I'm a this and I'm a this. And I'm like, yeah, I've met a few people like you. You're all annoying. Yeah. You're all annoying. So when she's up doing that spiel, just like I can imagine being a grip or something on that, just sitting there like, just shut up so we can start our day. We got to shoot this horse. I don't give a fuck about the moving picture first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Giving the whole.
Yeah. Just fucking get
history.
To it. But anyway, both are number 8s.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the great Rowan Atkinson in the film as well as a father, and as a priest rather. And he's, he was in the Love Actually and all those Richard Curtis things. All right. So, but then my 10 is for the 5-year engagement.
Okay.
Yeah. I defend this movie, and I'm really glad it took Corpse Bride off so I could make this movie be on my list. It's one of these ones that kind of wasn't that well received, but I really enjoyed it. Jason Segel and Emily Blunt have fantastic chemistry. They're engaged, they're going to be married, and then he takes a job, and when he takes a job, it kind of alienates her a little bit, so she goes and gets something else, and there's the possibility of infidelity on her side, but it's not happening. So it gets all kind of crazy about it. And so it's just this whole progression of how they came together in this really sweet way at the beginning of the movie. And then you see how his hesitation, her desire, and then her being like, you know what? I can't keep waiting around for you, dumbass. And is the thing that finally motivates his stupid ass to wake up and realize what he's got. And there's some great stuff with Allison Brie and Chris Pratt before Chris Pratt became Chris Pratt. That they have nice chemistry there with them, and it all leads to a wedding at the end of the movie. Spoiler, but I liked it, and I think Emily Blunt is fantastic in the movie. And there are some unsettlingly honest exchanges. If you're a couple that's like exploring wedding and you keep delaying the wedding, you keep hesitating on actually making the commitment, the conversations that they have, I think, are really good within the weird kind of comedy that plays out. And I think Emily Blunt is just so up for that kind of comedy in a way like Rose Byrne is, where you're just like really surprised that someone that beautiful can really kind of slide in and be adept at playing that kind of comedy so well.
Yeah.
And of course, Siegel's always great. I'm looking forward to that new show of his, Shrinking, with Harrison Ford. So it's nice to kind of go back and revisit some of the stuff where I really enjoy him and her together. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Ford doing a bunch of television all of a sudden.
Well, man's got to work, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's Apatow who produced it. I don't think he directed it. Yeah, Nicholas Stoller directed, who did what's the one with he did the Muppets, and then he also did, what the fuck isn't that the one that I'm thinking of that he did with
Which one?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He did Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek, and he did Neighbors. So, and Bros, which I thought was great from this past year in 2022 with Billy.
That was okay.
Really? Oh, I liked it a lot, man. It just didn't work for you
at points. Yeah, I liked it and didn't.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought it had a good ending, though. I did like the ending.
Yeah. Much more honest ending than you were maybe led to believe it was going to have.
Yeah, and I thought overall it's a solid storyline. I just think I would have made cuts to certain scenes and maybe fleshed out other parts. But
gotcha. But I like him as a director, so I enjoyed this movie. So yeah. You didn't see this one?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. There's quite a few on this list where it's been a long time since I've seen it, or I never saw it.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So my number 9 is My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That is. Oh, you know what? I wrote that down and I forgot to add it to my list.
Ooh, okay. You want to rearrange your list?
Yeah, I mean, I would bump off. So I'll move everything down.
Okay.
I would say it's in the 7, 8-ish range.
Okay.
For me. What number was that for you?
It was number 9.
All right, I'll make it my 8, but go ahead and start us off.
Yeah. I mean, this film, I think I watched some scenes from it in preparation for our show, and still holds up. The sweetness is still there, especially as me being a son of immigrants, having the immigrant family and having the dad who thinks one thing solves everything, that approach, that idea of like, oh, she's not, or he, in this case, he's not Greek. How is he going to fit into the system? In my dad's case, she's not Latino or Latina. How is she going to fit in? So that kind of thing, you're seeing some similarities, but also just it's actually deceptively really well written. And I like the scenes, like the characters. And although they're a bit fantastical, like with, is it Andrea Martin? And she's the aunt who has that thing growing on her neck and whatever. Like,
I think Andrea Martin is in the movie, I believe. Yeah.
She's the aunt, and like her, like that would seem, it could take you out of the movie, but she makes it seem so realistic that you're just like, okay, I buy the kind of weird, fantastical characters that are in the film, because it has a strong foundation at its core that feels real. And so, this idea that she's never been with a guy, never been on a date or whatever. And so she meets this guy as a teacher, but he's not Greek, and how that kind of upends the family, and then the conversations and the interactions, and then the slow progression to that point where she finds her voice, because her family are doing all of this out of love, but sometimes that love can be suffocating. And although you want them to stand on their own 2 feet, sometimes you don't want them to stand on their own 2 feet, countering you. So I like that that's all explored here, leading up to the very sweet wedding with her and John Corbett. And for once, John Corbett gets the woman. For once, it's kind of nice to see John not be the cuckolded guy or the guy who loses out on the girl. It's nice to see him finally get the girl at the end of a movie.
Plus, the movie has a universality that everybody can identify with on some level, so long as you have an extended family like this that you interact with.
Yeah, agreed.
So you might not be able to hit all these pieces, but just like, hey, I've got an uncle that's kind of similar to that, or an aunt that's it reminds me of that. And it's got a phenomenal story that Nia was doing the show.
Yes, right.
And Rita Wilson came out to see it and then loved it so much that she was basically a driving force to get this turned into a movie. That's an awesome story.
Yep.
And God bless Rita Wilson for trying to help, an unknown by and large actress get their break. Love the story that much. It's just like this. People have to see this. This is fantastic. You're amazing. I love the story. Let's see what we can do. And then she gets her husband on board, and then they've got a production company, and bing, bang, boom. It slowly but surely works its way through and becomes a massive hit. Just a massive hit.
It's always weird to see her pop up in old stuff before My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Like, I was going through some old Boy Meets World stuff on YouTube, and I forgot that
she's in that.
Yes, she has a couple of episodes as, like, I think this tutor who there might be some romantic stuff, or maybe she's the there's something there, or maybe she's the one that has the kid, and there's something going on there. So yeah, she was on for a couple of episodes as an older love interest for one of the main guys. And I watched the scenes because I hadn't seen those episodes. I just was watching some scenes, and I was like, wow, fuck, man, she looks so different here, just before she goes and has the Big Fat Greek Wedding. She never really got kind of 100% back to that point, but she's worked consistently in a number of projects through the years. And they did the sequel, right, in 2000.
Yeah, they did the sequel.
So, yeah.
She got a little bit of a run around My Big Fat.
Yeah.
And then, which happens to quite a few, people in this business, is like nothing took off near as much as that. So you don't really get that many opportunities like that anymore.
Yeah, they had a TV series. They turned it into a TV series, which she was in, called My Big Fat Greek Life. And then there was Connie and Carla, My Life in Ruins. And then that's where I think those were trying to become something and take off, and they never really did. So you see her pop up in movies every once in a while, but she's also in TV series and whatever over the last few years. So, but still working. Fuck it, man. Still working, so I can't say anything negative about that.
Yeah, done well for herself.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, what's your 7? Is that right? Or did that get moved down now? Okay.
No, that's my 7. It's Bridesmaids.
What? Punt. I can't, okay. What's your
6? You're getting into some territory where, you know what? I'm an idiot.
Oh, no. What happened?
I have My Big Fat.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had it at 6.
Okay, so we just talked about it.
We just talked about it.
Okay, so are you rearranging your list again?
No. It was at 6. I don't know how I just missed that.
Okay, no worries.
Bridesmaids is still 7, so that's fine.
Still a punt.
Big Fat was 6. I just somehow looked right past it.
Okay.
So what do you got?
My number 7 is Ready or Not.
That's a punt.
Oh, nice. I'm glad it's on your list. Okay. And then my 6 is Meet the Parents.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's all leading up to the wedding because he's got to meet the parents so that he can get the wedding.
It didn't even cross my mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Good movie.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's so good. Yeah, and I like a couple of the sequels. I didn't finish out the run to the last one, The Little Fockers or whatever. Um, but I like this movie. This original film is so much fun. It's such an unusual film because he's a male nurse and all the negative connotations that come with that at the time.
Sure.
Ben does a great job of exposing that. And then you've got, De Niro trying out comedy, who he had not done comedy a lot up until that point. You got Brenda Blethyn, Brenda, is that right? No, wait, what's her,
Talking about
Blythe,
the
sorry,
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Blythe Danner, sorry, Blythe Danner.
Blythe Danner, yeah.
I said my girlfriend watching beer has got me Brenda Blethyn on. Yeah, but Blythe Danner in this, and Terry Polo, and so that whole, and of course a great Owen Wilson playing her ex-boyfriend. So this whole thing that he's going on is so he can get her hand in marriage and they can come to the wedding. So the whole thing is in preparation for the wedding, him meeting the parents and all of this kind of stuff, and shopping for tuxedos. So the entire movie is about getting to the wedding. And the madness that goes on for him. And I love the fact that at the end, he does get to kind of stand on his own. He does get to kind of push back and fight back. And he isn't cuckolded by, emasculated by De Niro at the end, because De Niro realizes, my daughter does love him and I'm an asshole and I need to fucking make this right. And so those scenes with him, with that stewardess on the plane, are just fucking hilarious. And when he ends up in the final confrontation with De Niro before the wedding, I think it's great. So I love it. Yeah, it's such a fun movie, man.
Did this come first or Analyze This?
I think this came first before Analyze This. But
Okay.
Let me look that up real quick. But I think it came first. Because he hadn't done a lot of comedy. And you would say those two are both bang bang comedies that really kind of established him.
That he's more than willing to be in these comedy movies and pull it off masterfully.
Yeah.
And now it's like fucking, if you have any kind of comedy with an old guy, De Niro's just willing to sign on without reading the script.
He's gone too far over the side.
I appreciate that he wants to work, him and Pacino.
Yeah. You mean Dunkachino? No, you're right. Analyze This was first, and then it was Meet the Parents.
Okay.
But 99 to 2000. So it was
it's right there.
Analyze This, in 2000, Meet the Parents. Yeah, so it's a good.
I couldn't remember which came first, so it's not like I was saying that that one came before the other. I knew they were around the same time. I just didn't know the chronology of it. Yeah, no, it's got some great scenes. The ones that everybody gravitates towards, like the lie detector.
Yeah.
And then the "Can you milk me, Greg?" when he's talking about that cat and saving the little cat, and then milking the tiny little nipples, and he's just sitting there and he's like, "I have nipples. Can you milk me?" It's great. Like, you're a fucking idiot right now. You do realize that, right? Nobody's buying your bullshit.
Right.
But yeah, De Niro just playing it pretty much straight.
Yeah, pretty much straight, which is what you need in a good comedy. Somebody playing.
Yeah, you got to have somebody doing that.
Yeah.
He goes for more of the laughs at times and Analyze This as he like breaks down and cries.
Yeah.
To see that, but it's mostly Billy Crystal doing the heavy lifting, as he should.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like any of the heartfelt moments in that movie or any other should be De Niro would probably be the safer bet to be the catalyst, but why not hand off the reins to this guy is known for, or this woman is known for being funny? Why don't we have them do the funny thing?
Exactly.
I do love that about De Niro, that he is a big fan of comedy. So I think it comes from a place of respect and reverence.
Yeah, because he's a great dramatic actor. He must sense how difficult it is to do comedy so well,
Oh, I've watched so many of him, Rickles, and Scorsese.
Oh, man.
Just talking and whatnot. And he just sits there quietly and laughs as Rickles makes fun of both of them, but mainly lays into Scorsese.
His roast of Scorsese at AFI, I rewatch that all the time, just for him to go, to Robert De Niro, saying, "Bobby, he's one of the best actors of our generation. Ask him, he'll tell you.
You ask him, he'll tell you."
You ask him.
Fucking so good. You ever hear the story of when they were shooting Casino?
Yeah, no, the video. Yeah, if you're talking about the deleted or whatever, when they go back and forth, and he's like,
I know. So, De Tarantino was in town shooting,
Oh,
or
okay.
in town in Vegas. I
Yeah.
can't remember if he was shooting or whatever else, and got invited to set to come hang out,
Mhm.
meet everybody. And he had never met Scorsese. So
Oh,
he was,
wow.
by his own account, he was excited.
Okay.
But at
Of
this point,
course.
like Tarantino's already had a couple films under his belt. We all know him and we
Yeah.
all agree this dude is good. So it's not like he was some unknown quantity.
Right.
And he shows up in the set and he's jazzed about meeting Scorsese. And Rickles is there. And Rickles is like, finally, a director with talent. Tarantino, come on, save us. This asshole, and just starts making fun of Scorsese about how bad his direction is. And Tarantino's like, it was great. And at the same time, this is a terrible way to meet somebody you idolize.
I know. Because you don't know like where
Yeah.
to reject anything. Yeah.
But though, Rickles is just laying into it. I'm sure De Niro is just sitting there laughing his ass off, not saying a word. Just
So perfect.
but yeah, when he finds a good comedic vehicle,
Yeah.
he's always really good in it.
Yeah.
He just signs on from a lot of stuff that maybe not my cup of tea.
Yeah. The War with Grandpa or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think of Bad Grandpa, but that's the Johnny Knoxville.
Right.
But it's just
What was
him and
his
Zac
dirty?
Efron.
What was it? Dirty? The one he did with Efron. What was that one called?
That's the one that I
Dirty
think
Grandpa.
of. Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was another one with Grandpa in the title, The War with, or whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, The War with Grandpa. Yeah, that was one with Uma Thurman as his daughter, I think, and then which is ironic considering they were love interests in Mad Dog and Glory.
Oh, true.
Yeah. I still go back and watch The Irishman. Man, he's so good in that. Anyway, I know I'm in the rare thing for that. All right, where are we at? I think we're done, right? With our bottom half. Let's take a break.
Sure. Take a break, hear this word from our sponsors, and be back right after this. All right. Now we're jumping into our top 5. Do you want to do your number 5 first? I got to use the restroom.
Yeah, sure. It's a Wedding Singer. Is that on your list?
That's my number 4.
Okay. All right. I'll start off and you can pick up when I get back. Yeah, The Wedding Singer, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. This one, there are just some of the comedies. I'm not the biggest fan of Sandler's out there comedies, but I do like his sweet ones like Big Daddy, and like The Wedding Singer. I'm not going to put on Billy Madison. I watch scenes from Happy Gilmore, sure, to laugh, but these are the films that work for me when he does these kind of more honest films about the emotional stuff, even though he puts them in kind of funnier situations. And The Wedding Singer is great. His meltdown as the wedding singer because of his breakup and everything like that. And he starts, questioning love and scoffing at it and all. And then meeting Drew Barrymore and how that relationship progresses and seeing that she's with the wrong dude. And look, that's a trope and a cliche from back then that totally worked when it was constructed well. Of course, now it would be so see-through. But back then, it really worked, turning the preppy kind of arrogant asshole into the villain antagonist. It totally worked. And so seeing that progression of their relationship and the sweetness that develops between them as the film goes along so that they end up together, I think is great, and it's tangentially connected because he's the wedding singer. I don't remember if we see a wedding at the end of the movie or not, because it's been a bit since I've seen it, but I just remember enjoying his comedy, enjoying their connection, enjoying their what they built in that film. And then by the end, there's just such honest care between them that it's no surprise that they did numerous movies together as love interests as his career went on. So
exactly. I only heard the tail end, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but
yeah,
I second the motion.
What are your thoughts on The Wedding Singer?
If Adam Sandler chooses to do movies like this, I wish they were all more of this template.
Right. Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. Yes.
Yeah. Because I love the serious stuff he does too.
Sure.
And the comedy, like, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison were very much of a time.
Yes.
And I don't think he could replicate doing that type of humor, especially Billy Madison. I think you could do. I think he could do Happy Gilmore again.
Yeah. Okay.
But Billy Madison, just the stupidity of the character. You need to be a young guy
Yeah.
type of thing. But if you're going to do this hybridization of bringing the heart plus the funny, boy, I wish, because we all agree he seems like a genuinely great guy.
Yes. Yes.
And we all have an affinity for him. It's like this weird, you can't put your finger on it.
Right.
It's never worked for Andy Samberg for me.
Right.
He doesn't have the same charm to me, so I'm not buying into the comedy as much because I'm not as beguiled by your presence as I am Adam Sandler, and I don't know why. You like Sandberg, you're very good at what you do.
Yeah.
It's just never been my cup of tea. No matter how many times people tell me to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like I tried, I just couldn't get into it. And by all accounts, that's the best he's going to be. And like, if you love it, you love it.
Right.
But in this, it just, I could watch a sequel to this. I would happily watch if he made an updated version.
Oh yeah, like coming back and visiting this again.
Yeah, and seeing where they're at now. Maybe they have kids, and the
Yeah.
kids are going off to do something similar. They're going to get into a relationship that doesn't look good from the outside, and you're trying to convince them or whatever. Or there's a star-crossed lover. I could easily see the two of them signing on for this too, Sandler and Barrymore.
Totally.
But yeah, I just wish we got more of these as opposed to he started making movies for kids, which there's nothing wrong with that. He's got kids. He wants to make stuff that they can watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just wasn't geared towards me at all anymore.
Yeah.
So I didn't go in for that. I saw a lot of them though. I saw Click and I saw other stuff.
Pixels? Was he in Pixels?
He was in Pixels.
Yeah.
I did not see Pixels. I thought about it though. That was the first one in a while for Sandler's that I thought about seeing.
Okay.
Well, there was that one where he would tell like bedtime stories to the kids and the stories came alive.
Oh yeah.
Type of thing.
I think it's called Bedtime Stories. Yeah.
Okay. I saw clips of that, but that one never intrigued me. And there was a few others in between that and Pixels. And I'm like, yeah, not really made for me.
Not your jam. I can respect that.
Whereas Wedding Singer, like it's making fun of the 80s, but it also loves the 80s.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is a tough line to walk because it's
easy
easy to fall into one or the other.
Right.
And to still have both.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's the best he's gotten from his supporting cast too. The guys that were all in a ton of movies with him.
Yes.
They were utilized very well in the way the characters were created and cast and that.
As you said, it hasn't always been the case with him. So to see them work so well within the construct and parameters of this film was fun to see, you know, as opposed to like Little Nicky when they were used to create just some of the weirdest fucking people you've ever seen on a screen, characters you've ever seen on a screen.
Yeah, which I did not hate that movie.
Oh my God, really?
I know. But I'm not saying I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's awful. I guess the closest to the heart and comedy that he did after that would be Big Daddy.
Yeah, right. That's what I actually said that at the beginning of my intro. So I agree. We're on the same page. Like that. Yeah. Those are the kind of Adam Sandler comedies that I like, that have a little more reality or honesty to them. I'm not going to put on Happy Gilmore. I'm not going to put on Billy Madison other than maybe some scenes. But I'll watch Big Daddy. I'll watch Wedding Singer. I'll watch 50 First Dates. I'll watch these films that have a little more, just, I don't know, a little more foundation to them, a little more emotional honesty to them rather than these weird, fantastical, funny, let's just be funny to be funny type things. Like Grown Ups. I'll never fucking put that on again, you know?
Yeah. Can't believe they got a sequel out of that.
And neither can David Spade, I imagine.
I assume the budget was so cheap.
Maybe.
We just, hey, show up, get all my friends. We all agree to get paid like the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Since we're all friends, and then we're only shooting for a month.
But isn't Salma Hayek commanding a certain...
Yeah, but I'm saying like if Sandler agreed to take as much, just an upfront salary, because I'm sure he has back end points.
Right.
But as Spade and Rock and Kevin James although of those, I think Kevin James easily commands more money than the other two.
Probably, yeah. Because he's had more films where he's the lead and actually made money.
Yeah, and they've been successful.
Yeah.
And then I guess you would go Rock and then Spade.
Oh, 100%, right? Yeah. I think that's the way it would go. I can't imagine you pay Spade higher than Rock.
Yeah, but that being said, Spade's been on television for 2 decades now, pretty consistently. So,
it's true.
Guy's made a hell of a career. More longer. I never saw him having this coming off SNL.
Hell no. Are you kidding? Hell no. Especially after Eddie put the death on him.
Yeah.
With what happened there.
Yeah, snarky guy. I never saw snarky guy having a long career. Well, good for David Spade.
That's why I'm always fascinated that Seth Meyers is still around, because he's pretty much the snarky guy as well. So I always wonder at that.
Yeah, but talk show, he's trying to spin like a likability type of thing, like an everyman situation.
For sure. Okay, where are we up to now? You're
my 5.
Oh, you're 5. Yes, sorry. Go ahead. Yes, what's your 5?
Which is Much Ado About Nothing.
There's
There's 2 weddings in that, technically.
Yep. Knock yourself out, man. Go ahead.
This is so we brought up Macbeth a couple weeks ago, and I could not get through the language, because I think in Macbeth and most other Shakespearean versions, they still give the kind of play performance where it's coming at you faster.
Yeah.
And Much Ado is slowed down.
Yeah.
So it's easier to get the contextual understanding of what they're saying if you don't follow the verbiage.
Mm-hmm.
Although even in that, I think the verbiage is easier to follow in this, perhaps just because it's a love story, and there's a love story with a betrayal of a brother and another brother type of situation. But like with something like Macbeth, there's your father dies, and then there's your uncle, and all this political intrigue and backstabbing, and it's a complex web.
Yeah.
Whereas in Much Ado, it's more fun rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
Shakespearean version of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier to follow. It's the first Shakespeare that I ever saw when I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm old enough to where I understand Shakespeare. And that's just like not the fucking case. But this one I've always liked. And I would say watch it, if nothing else, for Michael Keaton, because he is flawless in his like Head of the Night's Watch, whatever his actual title is. I don't know. But I went back and just watched all his scenes, as many as I could find on YouTube. So good.
Yeah.
Just slays me. And then you have the back and forth with Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh as they're these seemingly polar opposites, but in reality, they're practically mirror images of one another.
Yeah.
And watching them slowly kind of fall into each other's orbit is a very believable love story, coupled with a natural love story that's going on right before you.
Right, with Kate Beckinsale and the dude from Dead Poets Society.
Yeah. And then you got Denzel and Keanu, and Keanu pulling it off, might I add.
In your opinion?
Do I think they could have had someone that I would fear more going up against Denzel? Sure.
Yeah. He doesn't scare me for a second in the film. That's why the film doesn't work for me. I'm gonna take him out, man. I love Keanu when Keanu's in his wheelhouse. In his lane, Keanu is great. When Keanu steps out of his lane, Dracula, Much Ado About Nothing, these other films, he really gets exposed. And I as much as I love him, and I do love him, and he's a damn fine person and human being, you got to be honest in your assessment. In my opinion, he takes me out of the movie every single time.
Yeah, not for me. Dracula, yes. Much as Ford Coppola has said, God bless him, like he was trying. Don't think that he was not trying. I saw him prepare.
Yeah.
But he is miscast in that movie. Whereas in this one, it's just like, the part is so small.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Keanu, I like you. John hates you, but I like you.
Put that on the t-shirt.
Yep. But honestly, Michael Keaton is so good.
Yeah, he is. He's fantastic.
So good. Even little things I forgot.
These are the gifts in Shakespeare plays. He always, even in the tragedies, he always has this one character that is made for laughs or played for laughs because he understood how to balance, that you needed something to balance the tension. Just take a break from the tension for a second or for a little bit. and that character that Michael Keaton plays does that. Osric, Robin Williams' character in Hamlet, does that. In Macbeth, sometimes they keep or don't keep the guy who runs the castle, and he has funny exchanges there. So he always found like these moments of humor within the tension that kind of give the audience a break for a second before he dives them into the real tragedy of the play. And that character is fantastic. Even though it ends on a positive note, there's the potential of tragedy,
Sure,
for sure, at the end of Much Ado.
All right, so that's my number 5. What do you got it for?
My 4 is Palm Springs, the Andy Samberg movie.
Go right ahead.
I know you're not an Andy Samberg guy.
I'm not.
I like this movie a lot. Him and Christina Milioti, who I think is great. The Last Resort on Peacock is on there, and she's really good in that as well. And she's about to be in something that they announced. I can't remember what it was, but I am such a champion of hers because Made for Love was great on HBO Max as well. There's 2 seasons. And so, seeing this movie was such a surprise for me of what it was, which is, of course, Groundhog Day, but, it's all around a wedding. It's all about a wedding. It occurs at a wedding. The Groundhog Day starts at a wedding, and it leads to them eventually, coming together. So, but the madness of the film and all the different adventures they go on and the kind of exploring the time bending stuff, and then you realize who else is involved in the Groundhog Day aspect of it all is great. And it leads to a lot of fun conversations, funny moments, some hard conversations as well. But the chemistry between her and Samberg is just perfect. And I like Samberg. I do like Samberg. I like his Lonely Island stuff. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I like his Lonely Island stuff. I'm not going to deny him that.
Yeah.
He's
I enjoyed him on
bangers.
SNL for all those years as well. Yeah.
I can't remember a single skit that he was in. Or sketch, rather. Can't. Literally. I mean, I'm sure someone was like, you remember the time this happened? Oh, yeah, but it's all the Lonely Island stuff. I don't remember a sketch that he was in.
Yeah. But the Lonely Island stuff was so fucking good.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Became massive hits on their own.
I mean, Dick in a Box.
Yeah, Dick in the Box
It's
such a stupid concept, and it's perfect.
Right? The Natalie Portman rap. Holy shit. That single-handedly changed everyone's perception of Natalie Portman. Single-handedly, So
Lazy Sunday.
Yeah,
that was the
him
first
and Parnell.
One.
Oh, yeah. That was so good.
There's another guy where I thought he would fall into obscurity after SNL, and I think he's actually gotten better.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. His Archer work, people don't talk about it enough. Yeah, I know H. John Benjamin is great, and oh God, I forget names all the time now. This is terrible. Thank God I'm not playing anymore. I'd be out in the first rounds every time. What's her name that plays?
Now sits at the chair for Whose Line?
Yeah.
Was on maybe like the first black person on Friends.
Yeah, she's on Criminal Minds Evolution now as well.
Never even heard of that. Criminal Minds Evolution?
It's the new one. It's on Paramount Plus.
Of course, there's a fucking
actually good. I had walked away from Criminal Minds
as you should have
years ago, dude. And Lindley loves these kind of shows, so we were like, this is coming back. So let's take a chance. And we watched the first one. I was like, it's not fucking bad. So then we've been watched
the first episode of Night Court.
Yeah, I've watched the first 2. Yeah, dude. The pilot is terrible. Oof,
it is awful.
Yeah.
It's basically a bad 80s sitcom.
Yes.
Just doesn't work in modern sensibilities. I don't mind a sitcom,
right.
But it's the jokes are just, you see him coming from a mile away.
I don't know how he talked, because he claims that she talked him into it.
Who, Larroquette?
Yeah. He claims that she's the one that came to him and convinced him to do it. And so he took it. Aisha Tyler, that's her name. Aisha
Tyler. Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, and I was watching. The second episode is better than the first episode, but not by much. There's no chemistry with the characters. There's no humanity to them. They're all played for caricature. And it's so frustrating because when you watch Night Court, all those actors they chose to play those characters, they have a groundedness to them. Mac brought that kind of real world sensibility, Roz was the no, don't fuck with me, or Selma Diamond, same thing, don't fuck with me. Moose was the kind of dummy, but a sweet dummy. Marky Post was like this eager person that wanted to save the world. And Harry, and of course, and Larroquette was a skeptic, was a cynical guy, but there were human, vulnerable moments. And so from the beginning, there was much more depth in the characters and the actors that were playing them, including Harry Anderson as Judge Stone. So to not have that here, I think, is a massive mistake in the casting department. And the same thing with but this is NBC right now, just so frustrating because the new Law and Order is that way as well. It is terrible, the new Law and Order, just utterly fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how you make a bad one because it's just the same formula.
Well, they changed it because they're so overcorrecting for the criticism, which I never agreed with, the criticisms of the old Law and Orders, how it's unfairly elevates the police and everybody else is a criminal. And I mean, the whole fucking police force. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. Where like everybody just wants to kill everybody of color. It's ridiculous. And so to me, I don't understand why there were criticisms of a show like that. Because I thought it was a fucking great show, Law and Order. So they come back and overcorrect, and now everybody's having PC conversations all the time. And it's like, this is not fucking real. This is not fucking real. Nothing you're doing is fucking real. And then the actors they've brought in just have no depth to them at all. And it's super frustrating. And Sam Waterston's way too old to be playing the character he's playing. You feel like he's going to fall over at any moment. So anyway, those are my mini criticisms of both of those shows. But I'm gonna keep watching Night Court, hoping it finds its feet. But yeah,
that pilot was so awful that
it was bad, dude.
I'm just not gonna watch it.
She's not even playing because she's a bit of I hate to use the word again, but she's kind of a little bit of a caricature. What she's putting on this, I'm nerdy little blah, 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 and you're like, where's the depth here? Whereas Larroquette, I think, because he's such a pro, it's no problem for him to.
Yeah, no, he looks great in his scenes, even though like the jokes that he's delivering are terrible.
Yeah, the writing's not great. You're right, 100%.
He's still delivering it pretty flawlessly.
Yes,
he's basically the only thing I like.
He's a pro because he's a pro.
Yeah. And then the woman we've seen before that's taken over the Marky Post role.
Yes,
I could see there being some tension there, but nothing like the sexual tension they had before because there's a 50-year or 40-year age difference between them, so it's not going to be the same there. But there's something there. I could see the repartee existing, but the Marsha Warfield character is brutal.
Yeah,
and then
they're not.
The guy that they got playing Mac.
Yeah.
Is nothing. He was honestly could have faded into the background.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh God, this fucking show. But Palm Springs, it came down to, do I want to rewatch Four Weddings or do I want to give Palm Springs? Because I was like, Four Weddings is probably going to make my list, but I wasn't sure. And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen that in 20 years or longer.
Right.
Let me watch it again. But Palm Springs was the talk of the town when it came out. Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a Sandberg that I should give a whirl, it's got to be that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Hot Rod. I know a bunch of people that love that movie. And it's just like, really? That's fucking, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Where are we at? Your number 3? My number 3? What are we at?
My number 3, which is the punt from earlier, Ready or Not.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, my man.
Not my usual fare.
Okay. Yes. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which to me is a testament to how good I think that movie is. I saw it in the theater, which once again, I wouldn't normally see a movie like that, but I heard enough good things, went saw it, loved it. And then I've seen it since once, which to me tells me, okay, because it's only been out for 3 years?
Yes. It hasn't been out that long. In fact, the directors of it just did the new Scream movie, Scream 5, and I'll be doing the new Scream 6 too. Yeah.
Okay. But it's a great premise. I don't know how much we should talk about.
Oh, good point. We shouldn't spoil too much of it.
Yeah, because it's a newer movie.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's kind of a fish out of water in that this girl is marrying into a rich family, and the rich family is wary of outsiders because Are they coming in for our fortune and whatnot? And they have to be initiated into the family.
Yeah.
And it's the initiation process, which is the movie.
Yeah. 100%.
But it's all, it's great premise.
Yeah.
Love the twists and turns.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly appreciated the ending. And I was like,
me too. And I
yeah.
know it was kind of controversial with some people. I liked that ending.
Where's the controversy?
Well, people felt that it was a bit like unrealistic.
The whole fucking thing is unrealistic.
I'm just telling you what people said. I'm not saying I said it. Yeah.
I'm not saying that you are. That's what you're going to take issue with? How we got to that moment, we're going to, no problems here.
Yeah.
Because then there's verification of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so upon that verification, then you'd be like, well, the ending was a bridge too far. Okay. All right. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's lazy criticism.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was so well directed, so well paced out. We just talked about Andie MacDowell. I thought she was damn good in this movie. And all the actors that were a part of this thing. And then when you find out what the actual truth is about the family, I thought that was handled really well. And Samara Weaving, as she grows in strength and like understanding of the situation and troubleshooting it and fighting her way out of the situation, I think is fantastic to watch. And the shit they put her through, my God, as she's wearing a wedding dress the whole time, I think is just fantastic. And God love her for doing this role because she was so good in it,
Yeah, you think she looks at Anya Taylor-Joy and is like, that's the career I should have?
I don't know. I mean, everyone thinks she looks like Margot Robbie, and they even make a joke about that in Babylon because they're both in Babylon and they have a scene together. And so, and I think they showed up with the premiere wearing the same dress, but with a different style to the dress, which was funny. But no, I think she's probably happy where she's at, and I think, you got to understand some people just have a different energy and people want to work with that energy and put them in certain things.
They're both young actresses that look somewhat similar.
Yeah.
And have somewhat the same energy. And Anya Taylor-Joy right now is the cat's pajamas. Everybody wants her in their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I can't blame them. I can't think of something that I've seen her in that she wasn't good in.
She's really fucking good, man.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, just if you go from Last Night in Soho to Queen's Gambit to The Northman to The Menu, those are 4 completely different type of films, and she's markedly different in every single one of them. And that just speaks volumes about the kind of actress that she is, and she's still so fucking young too. That's the crazy part of it all. She's still in her fucking early 20s.
Yeah.
There's much more to come from her. Like her and Florence Pugh to me are the top 2 young female actresses that are just.
Yeah, but I think she's got a leg up on Florence. Just because she's had more varied stuff coming out. Now Florence has the Marvel plus she's getting this prestige stuff.
Yes. Also the TV stuff, like Little Drummer Girl. She's great in Little Drummer Girl. If you guys haven't seen that series.
I think Catherine watched it without me.
Oh, okay.
And then once I discovered it existed, she's like, oh, I watched that. It was good. Oh, okay.
You love those moments, right?
Yeah, it happens. And then other times there's stuff that I'm intrigued by and she's like, it's not good. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not to say that we always have the same taste, but it's fairly similar.
Yeah. I love when I catch Lindley with something like that. She's like, oh, I thought we had a discussion that you didn't want to see it. We never had the discussion. You lying little shit. You just wanted to watch the series and didn't want to wait for me. Don't lie. It's always hilarious when that happens.
Yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy, basically to me, she's closer to like Adam Driver, where she could do any project she wants. And we all agree, you're really good. I'll continue watching.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Florence has gotten to that level with me yet, even though I think she's really good. Anya, I haven't seen a bad thing that she's been in. I just don't think I've seen as much of Florence's stuff. I
mean, even in that Olivia Wilde movie, I thought she was the standout to go see that movie. There's no reason to go see that movie as her.
Yeah, I'm not gonna see that.
Yeah, I imagine you won't.
Nah.
All right, so then my 3, is the punt from earlier from your end, Bridesmaids.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love this movie. So much fun. So many great female comedians a part of this film, led, of course, by Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph. And then you get to Wendy McClendon-McCovey, Ellie Kemper. Also, and Rose Byrne, of course, as you said, just kind of playing the more straight character with all these different kind of comedians involved. And it all works so well. There's a real sweetness to the story of, Kristen Wiig and just the low point of her life, insecure. She's lost her bakery. She's living with an ungrateful roommate in Rebel Wilson. And John Hamm is just using her for sex.
And Matt Lucas, the other.
Oh, Matt Lucas. Yes. That who plays Rebel Wilson's brother. Yes, you're right. And so she's just, and then her best friend is possibly getting a new a new maid of honor or whatever. And so even this last vestige of her life that she can kind of call her own might be being taken away from her. And this is what leads to the snap, to the breakdown and everything that happens as a result. And to me, the comedy scenes are just utter gold. Stuff we've never seen women do on screen that works so well. And of course, Melissa McCarthy, who is just fucking this is the movie that launched her in essence, even though she'd been on Gilmore Girls and a couple of the films. This is the one that really launched everyone.
Well, she was coming off the heels of Mike and Molly.
Yeah, the Mike and Molly as well. Both of those. But, she hadn't made that big jump. And this is the film that really kind of launched her into be able to do her own stuff with Ben Falcone, her husband. And and the Kristen Wiig breakdown is just a classic scene. The back and forth between her and Rose Byrne at the toast situation where they're trying to one up each other is hilarious. And then at the end, what happens there with, and the storyline rather with her and Chris Dowd, how that all comes about and continues and progresses. So to me, it's just a really sweet film and very, very funny that leads to an honest ending that I kind of really like.
The scenes where she's trying to get Chris Dowd to arrest her.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
Those are great.
Those are, just slowly going past and trying to get him, and he's frustrated.
Drunk driving.
Yeah. Just, hey, look at me, just fucking around, trying to get him to arrest her. Because he basically get him to pay attention.
Yeah. So
she's trying to break the law in front of him. Those parts utterly slay me. I love that scene in the theater. Yeah, it's a solid movie. It's completely rewatchable.
Yeah.
I just have a greater affinity for the movies above it. That's all.
No respect, no disrespect at all. All right, what's your 2?
My deuce is Wedding Crashers.
That's my deuce. Yes, agreed with you.
For when this came out, this in Old School, I preferred this, and then eventually over time, I think Old School surpassed it for me.
Yeah.
But Vince Vaughn just slays it in every single fucking scene he's in.
Yeah.
I could watch that character and then the Fisher, the girl that's
Isla Fisher. Yeah.
I'm so attracted to him, and the mania that she brings to her role, and then the sweetness between Rachel McAdams and Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
They have an amazing chemistry between them. And go back and rewatch it. Bradley Cooper is technically the villain.
Oh my God, he's absolutely the villain. Yeah.
Literally he is, but it's like there's the real villain is like them not getting together. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you could cast 50 people in that part.
I see what you're saying.
It's not like it's so indelibly he's the villain and it's Bradley Cooper's, because I forgot he was in it until he became Bradley Cooper, and it's like, oh yeah, he was in Wedding Crashers.
He's playing a standard dick role, is where you're saying. Yeah,
it's a forgettable, and it's not his fault. I think it's just the way it's presented. And then Chris Walken as the dad is fantastic, and Jane Seymour is the mom.
Oh my God,
is amazing.
It's the hottest she's ever been, dude.
You fucking motorboating, you motorboating son of a bitch. Fuck, God, Vince Vaughn, man. At that point, he was just that rat-a-tat style of delivery.
This was the last gasp of that Vince Vaughn. I would love to see that Vince Vaughn again, but he's just too old, man. He's just too old. But I would love to see that Vince Vaughn again. It's so good. He's so good in the movie.
Yeah, he is.
Emoticon son of a
You
bitch.
motorboat son of a bitch. You got in there, didn't you? And it's just like, how much of that was improv of him just like, here are the bullet points we want to hit, go.
Yeah.
Had to be.
Mhm.
God, I loved Vince Vaughn at that time.
Dude, so good at that time. Ugh, yeah. I'm looking right now to see what because that's early 2000s, right? Like 2004 or something.
I want to say
2005.
even earlier. Is it 2005? I would have guessed
2005.
2002, 2001.
And that's like the last gasp, right? Because then it's what dodgeball. When is dodgeball like?
Some people love Dodgeball. I think that movie's terrible.
I like dodgeball.
It's got moments.
Yeah. I liked Fred Claus. I thought he wasn't bad in Fred Claus.
Okay.
I hated the breakup. Oof. Couples Retreat was lame.
Did you ever see what was it? Dragged Across Pavement, Concrete?
No, that's on my list of like
Me too.
these hard ass male movies I need to watch. Dragged Across Concrete. Then the one with Nicholas Coster-Waldau when he goes.
That's what I was gonna say. I got in a mood and I watched that one. Shot Collar.
You did. Was it Riots or Cell Block 99? Whatever it's called. Is that what it's called?
That's another Vince Vaughn one.
Oh, okay. What's the one with
Shot Collar?
Shot Collar. That's yes.
Nicholas, whatever.
Yeah, Coster-Waldau. Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's good.
Okay, I gotta see it. But yeah, he hasn't. I mean, he doesn't. I didn't see Queen Pins. I don't know if that was good at all.
Memory serves, it was not. I did not see it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I think that was it because Delivery Man wasn't good. Unfinished Business wasn't good. The Watch was terrible. The Dilemma was terrible. Couples Retreat was not good. Four Christmases was okay. Fred Claus was fine. Breakup was really weird. And then we get to Wedding Crashers. So I think it's the last gasp of that Vince Vaughn. That's fucking crazy. Great Vince Vaughn, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, but if he came out with something tomorrow and they're like, it's Vince Vaughn, I'd watch it.
I agree with you. Especially because his episodes of Curb from the past season, he was great as Freddie Funkhauser, and his back and forth with Larry David was fantastic. And I'm like, oh, that shit's like gold because
where's that? Come on.
Yeah, somebody write that for fuck's sake. Yeah. I don't know though. I don't know what's gonna happen. Well, I guess I should see Queen Pins and see if he's any good in it, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. Anything else to say on Wedding Crashers, or should we move on?
Let's move on.
Okay. What's your number one, Matt Knost?
My number one is Coming to America.
As is mine, dude. I had to fight for this one on my list. And even Lindley was giving me shit about it when I read, because I read the list to her this morning. She's like, wait, that's not about a wedding. I go, the whole film.
The whole thing's building to a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing is him searching for a wife.
Yes.
And then eventually he finds the woman that he's falling in love with, and then they get married.
Yeah.
It's all building towards the wedding.
Yeah.
It starts with a potential, betrothal of the woman that he's going to be potentially forced to marry.
Yeah.
And then decides, as his father puts it, to go sow his royal oats in America.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Queens. And it is amazing. It is.
Yeah. I mean, what can we say? We've talked about it numerous times on the show, but it still holds up. The sequel, not so much, but this one holds up. The comedy still works. Every time there's a new kind of analysis of the film, I always enjoy reading the new analysis of the movie. The McDowell stuff is still resonant and hilarious whenever you hear it.
Yeah.
And then leading to the wedding, and the message itself still resonates. The idea of love, of marrying for love, not for status or not for arranged situation, and walking your own path to find your own happiness, and it all just so works amidst all the very, very funny sequences in the film, with both of them dressing up as different characters. The stuff in the barbershop, sexual chocolate stuff, the dude at the Reverend, all of it just works so well.
Yeah. This is, Eddie at his height for me. Never. This was just perfection.
Yeah.
And then it was bumpy ride and then fell off, and who knows where what the future holds.
Yeah, I want to watch that You People movie this over the weekend. I'm definitely going to watch that. The trailer looks funny as shit. So I hope it's good because I'd like to see Eddie start to make a little bit of a comeback.
And there's been momentum towards that with My Name is Dolomite.
Yes.
And then what was the one? It was 2 years before where there was somewhat Oscar buzz, but everybody agreed the movie wasn't good.
Dreamgirls, do you mean?
No, that was years before.
Yeah, it was 10.
It was 2 years, maybe 3 years before My Name is Dolomite.
Oh, that's a good question. What was the one before My Name is Dolomite? No, not Mr. Church, I don't think.
Right? It might have been Mr. Church.
Oof. That's a terrible movie. But yeah, I think they were. You're actually right. I think they were actually thinking that was going to be something for him because it's a serious role. And
yeah, it was Mr. Church. There was buzz of maybe Oscar contention for Eddie, and then movie wasn't good. So
holy fuck, man, Dreamgirls is 2006. God,
yeah, it was a long time ago.
God damn, dude. Wow. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that was a while ago. I did like Dolomite is My Name, though. All right. Do you want to add anything more about Coming to America, or are we good?
Nah, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. We'll combine the list. Sadly I don't have the bongos near me. They might be back in the basement, or in the garage. I apologize, but I will just bang on the desk. Shall we put this together?
Yeah, 1, 2 is easy. Coming to America, Wedding Crashers.
We have to flip on 3, right? Because unless I've got Ready or Not at 7. Do you have Bridesmaids at 7 or at 8?
I have Bridesmaids at 7.
Oh, it's a flip.
So it's 3, 7, 3, 7.
Let's do it.
Flip. All right. Flipping. Oh, Ready or Not takes it.
Damn. Nice. And then
all right, so that's 1 through 4.
Okay.
And then I would say Wedding Singer next. That's 4, 5.
Yep.
All right. And then let's see. Big Fat you had at 8?
9.
Yeah. So we have Big Fat, and
Do we have
that
4
is
weddings?
it.
Don't we have 4 weddings?
Oh, 4 weddings.
Yeah, that was my 8.
And that was my 8.
Okay. So where are we at right now?
1 through 5 is done. So we have 6 through 10 to go.
Okay. Do we want to elevate 4 weddings up to 6? Or do you want to go with...
Well, if we're doing that, Big Fat beats it.
Oh, right. Good point.
So we can do Big Fat 4 weddings and then just our highest.
That sounds good.
All right. What's your next highest? I have my
Palm
5.
Springs at number 4. Palm Springs at number 4.
All right. Palm Springs.
Okay.
And then my 5, because we already used yours.
Much
ado. And then what's your highest?
Meet the Parents at 6.
Meet the Parents it is.
Oh, nice. All right, here we go. The top 10 movies about weddings. Yeah. At number 10.
Meet the Parents.
At number 9.
Much Ado About Nothing.
At number 8.
Palm Springs.
At number 7.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
At number 6.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
At number 5.
The Wedding Singer.
At number 4.
Bridesmaids.
At number 3.
Ready or Not.
At number 2.
Wedding Crashers.
And our number 1 movie about weddings is
Coming to America.
Yes, good stuff. All right, there you go. That's our list for this week. We thank you all so much for joining us. Whether you're watching or listening to us on the podcast feed, we appreciate it madly. And, hopefully you didn't miss our big announcement. But if you did, go back and listen to the first 10 minutes of the show, and you'll hear about our big announcement about the show. Matt, what else do we have to tell them?
If you're so inclined, you can follow the show at Top 10 Show, all spelled out on Twitter. And then on Instagram and YouTube, it's /the Top 10 Podcast with the number 10. So hit us up. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost and check out my other show, Settle the Score. You can find that anywhere you get podcasts, or you can watch it over at youtube.com/Matt Knost.
Yeah, I just recently took on Jeff Snyder on that episode or that show. So watch that episode or listen to that episode for sure. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, where we're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, if that's even possible. Come and take a look at the content there. And my other podcasts, the Cinephiles, the Geek Buddies, and the Hot Mic there that I do with Jeff Snyder for y'all to listen to. All right. Take care of yourselves. Be well. We'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Top 10. Peace.